I was poised to say, there are journeys that people undergo in life that are remarkable because they mark a great distance traveled. The classic case of someone who's born into poverty and then achieves over the course of a lifetime enormous wealth, kind of classic situation. Someone who's born on the wrong side of the tracks and emerges as the prime minister or the president. And then there's the journey that I think is the most extreme journey that anyone can take anywhere on the planet, really. And it's the journey that some people make when they change their own gender, when they're born into a body that says male but want to be female, or when they're born into a body that says female and they want to become male. Our next two speakers have both experienced this kind of ultimate journey. Nina Arsenault is a performer of femininity. I think I put my finger on it the right way, in that there's a great deal of drama and theater involved, but she has retained her penis. And Buck Angel is a performer of masculinity, but he has kept his vagina. Both of them have undergone extraordinary measures, 10 years each of hormonal treatments, countless plastic surgeries and cosmetic procedures to transform their bodies, but their minds were always clear. From the earliest time, they understood their identities to be different from what their bodies appeared to suggest. So we're going to have two speakers, one after the other, reflecting this strange thing. Half the people on earth are born women, and some want to become male. The other half are born male, and some want to become female. Here we are. This is Nina Arsenault.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I heard a few giggles when my chair came out. Sometimes I like to think of myself as a good fairy that's played around with some bad magic, some black magic. I'm an artist who's had 60 plastic surgeries and procedures, 60. And I want to talk to you about some sacred things today, things that are sacred to me. And sometimes I might do some things that are very unladylike, like I might sit with my legs like this, because when I sit like this, I feel the most receptive towards you, and I definitely want to feel receptive towards you in the audience today. And when I sit like this, I also feel the most penetrative. And I also want to penetrate you today, your mind. Something that's really sacred to me are empowerment narratives, stories where people become better people. Unfortunately, I think our culture is permeated with storylines of empowerment through transformation. It's what's marketed, it's what sells books, it's what people tune into on TV. It's edited that way, I know, because I've been on TV shows, I've been on scripted television shows and documentary shows, and they do edit your life in a documentary show to turn it into an empowerment narrative. That's what people like, that's what people applaud, it's what people appraise, it's emulated. I find storylines of empowerment and transformation so pervasive, I find it suffocating. And yet, in many ways, I'm the poster girl for that. I'm really grateful to be able to be here and speak to you about the ideas that I have today. the ideas that I'm working with currently in my work. Oh, and some of my photographic work is going to be playing on the screen behind me as I speak. And I'm just going to talk to you, and that stuff is going to play. And I know that in 2010, our minds can absorb multiple different streams of information simultaneously because we're in 2010 and we have media training and we're all very smart. So I know you can keep up with it, even if the information is new, provocative, and sexual. Like I said, I've had 60 plastic surgeries and procedures. That took 8 years. It was an arduous project to redesign my body, but also thrilling. And it was full of both ecstasy and suffering. I've created autobiographical writing inside the National Post and Fab magazine about this experience. I've written 2 autobiographical plays about it. The plays are called The Silicone Diaries and I Was Barbie. I also make appearances on TV and in other media. In nightlife, I impersonate Jessica Rabbit. And I've also been hired to represent Barbie at her official birthday party that Mattel threw at the opening night of Toronto Fashion Week. And I consider these appearances part of my art practice, and I consider my Facebook as part of my art practice, as well as my YouTube channel a part of my art practice. I'm someone who has been sexually discriminated against. I'm a sexual minority, although I have in some times been revered as sacred. So I appreciate that too. But as someone who's been discriminated against sexually, the democratization of these social networking sites, Facebook and YouTube, has been invaluable for me to disseminate my ideas, my artwork. And my artwork explores culturally constructed notions of maleness and femaleness, realness and fakeness, and I see myself exploring femininity as an art form, like Moses said. And most of all, I explore my body as an object. By the way, I usually don't believe in responding to my detractors, but today I want everyone to hear my truth, the truth of my work and the truth of my life. And so I just want to very briefly say that I understand there are people in culture who think they know the truth of my life better than I know it. Medical professionals, certain medical professionals, psychologists, certain gender theorists, and certain feminist academics even believe that they know the truth of my life more than I do. And I think they think that because they have lots of clinical research that they must defend to maintain their positions of power. And my ideas of objectifying myself they're not even my ideas, and they're not new ideas. They exist in culture already, they're everywhere. And I've objectified my body in multiple different ways. I've had cosmetic procedures where I have taken the idea that I have a soul, I've put that on a shelf for a while, and looked at my body in terms of line, mass, form, and structure. And I also have inanimate substances inside my body, one, silicone. And so literally there are parts of me that are inanimate, and yet they are me. So I've made myself an object in that way. And then I take photographs of my surgically altered body. I make videos of it. I do theatrical performances. And that also creates objects of the object. And like I said, none of these ideas are mine. Lots of other women do this. In fact, the objectification of women is everywhere. It's probably in your lives so much that many of you don't even realize it's happening all the time. And if there's one original idea that I have, it is that I have allowed these ideas of objectification into my body, and my body has become the medium to express and explore them. And that's not even original either, because lots of other women do that too. I maybe have done it a little bit more. Okay, if there's one original thing that I've done, it's that there's not a man who is objectifying me and profiting off of it. You know what? That's not even original either, because lots of women are doing that too. Okay, if there's one original thing that I do, one idea, I'm at Idea City. If there's one idea that I have, it's that I speak about my objectification. And I think that's what makes it blasphemous, because this objectification is happening around us every day in every way. And when I speak about it without shame and without taking on an air of, oh my God, I'm just being so superficial. I'm talking about my hair and makeup and body. Because if these ideas are around us every day in every way, I think someone needs to be giving them serious artistic thought and intellectual thought. And I read serious intellectual thought about the objectification of women's bodies. I read a lot of academia, and I have found that almost all of it is a 100% rejection that women should have plastic surgery, believe in beauty, engage with beauty, recognize beauty, that we should all stop objectifying women, all of us. It's an amazing politic. But I would like to be so bold today to say that I am mesmerized by the beauty of women's bodies. I'm transfixed by it, and I will not apologize for that. And when I take photographs of my surgically altered body and I do theatrical performances, I understand that in the gaze of the viewer, my body is an object sometimes of beauty, of eroticism, but also of critique, of satire, destabilization, provocation, blasphemy, and grotesqueness. And sometimes my body is all of these things at once. And sometimes my body puts into the viewer a series of moments where the perceptions change moment by moment through all of those things. Sometimes the images can be interpreted as tragic, comic, triumphant, hilarious, ironic. And I want to share with you today my definition of irony, because I take it from Donna Haraway's The Cyborg Manifesto, which was written in 1982. Usually the definition of irony means that the literal meaning of the image is opposite of the implied meaning, creating that schism that we call irony. Donna Haraway's conception of the term irony is that a single image, a single body, a single being can contain a cascading-like, web-like structure of apparently discordant meanings that cannot be pulled apart, because to pull them apart would deny the truth of the whole body. So, dialectics like male bleed into female, bleeds into real, bleeds into fake, bleeds into abomination, beauty, worshipfulness, and self-annihilation. All of these things become connected. And I'll tell you, I started objectifying my body at a very young age, probably about 3 or 4 years old, because I knew that I had the spirit of a young girl inside me, but the body of a boy. So I always understood my body as a vessel that contained my spirit. I don't ask people, but I think that most people think that they are their bodies, that they hurt their finger, ouch, that hurts, ouch, that's real sensation, that's real, that's me, that's the real me. I didn't have that. And as a young child, at about 5, I was fascinated by ancient Egyptian art, in particular the Nefertiti bust, hieroglyphics, the columns of temple walls, women's bodies that had been abstracted into art. I was fascinated by that, and man chiseling away at the stone of nature to create art. Some people might say that those aren't real women's bodies. Those are representations of women's bodies created by men, created by a male gaze. I would agree with you. In the past, literary agents and publishers have asked me, why don't you stop being so complicated? And we could just write an empowering story of your life, of your transformation. It would be a bestseller, a empowering representation for women and transsexuals everywhere. Well, I'm not a politician that's trying to win votes or approval. I'm an artist. And I believe that if you start with politics and you try to create art to communicate your politics, you bleed out the complexities of human life to create a clear message. You create an essay in paint, an essay in sculpture or in writing. And that essay, that simple truth, lets people go home. They go home satisfied. They understand a truth of the human condition better. And because that truth is an oversimplification, they wake up tomorrow morning and the artistic experience has lost all of its resonance. Instead, I create art from obsession. I sometimes create art because it's painful not to create it. It is painful not to express the things that I have been through. It's painful for people not to witness it. When I make art, I write on the page, I have thoughts that go through my mind, I think of imagery, it's in my mind, and then I check in with what's happening inside my body. And my body will respond to the thoughts with sensation. It's very exciting. And I check in with what's happening inside my genitals, on the pelvic floor, and inside my anal sphincter. And the thoughts and ideas and images that bring me the most feelings, that arouse in me the greatest sensation, those are the things that I create art from. But my art is not created from a place that is trying to make the world a better place. My art is not created from a place where I'm trying to ease the suffering of other women. In fact, my work complicates the world, and my work complicates the suffering of other women. But I have found that some people, only some people, want to experience the complications of life. Empowerment interwoven with disempowerment, suffering with ecstasy, joy with pain. And I know that if I continue to breathe into the deepest places inside my body and continue to create art, eventually what I will make is a narrative. The pieces of art will form a story. The story may not be a story of empowerment, but it will be sublimely truthful as I move through the shadows of my obsessions and into the great lights of my obsessions. And it's the sublime truth, which may create social change, I don't know, but it's the sublime truth of the work. That is what will make it beautiful. Thank you.
Maybe we should take the picture of you sitting in the chair.
Oh,
Why
thank
don't
you.
Yes.
Will you stand behind me?
I will, yeah. Thank you so much, Nina.
Thank you.